Hi guys, welcome to a quick tutorial on ExpressJS. We're going to be discussing 4 very simple concepts in this particular video, and in future videos we'll go into depth into each one of them. So the first one is creating a skeleton application. So ExpressJS comes with an option to create a basic blueprint for a website or an application. So you can simply download that and use it, right out of the box. Within which we'll create a form. We'll connect that form to the database, and then we'll post an item to a database, much like what you see over here, the register below form here. So we'll enter a username, whatever, Mr. ABC, and then ABC at abc.com, and QWERTY is the password. Register. So we get a result here, item set to the database, and if we go to the database, we'll refresh, and we'll see Mr. ABC at abc.com, and QWERTY is the password. So we're going to recreate that all over again for you. So the first thing we'll do is we will stop this server, and let's go back to it. Okay, now that the server stopped, what we'll do is we'll go to our folder, we'll create a new file. We'll call it Express Practice 2. If we go into Git Bash, we can open up our code editor directly from here. I find it a little bit easier to do that. So we have a blank canvas here. So if you do Control tilde on this is on PC, so Control tilde, that button next to the 1, we get to the terminal. In which case we will run. The first thing we'll run is npm init -y. -y just makes everything, just says yes to everything, and then we'll write. One second. We'll write npx express generator view is equal to EJS. Now the EJS is my preference, but there's numerous view tools you can use. One of them is pub. There's many of them. You can work with the ones that you kind of feel comfortable with. EJS, I think, simulates rather the HTML as closely as I like it, so that's why I use that. So install that. Now it's going to install like just the basic items, as you can see up here now. But if I go now, if you go into the package.json file, you'll notice that although the dependencies are installed, are on the list rather, they're not actually installed. So you do actually have to npm install them, and that installs all the dependencies that the package.json has, but are not yet installed. So on top of that, we need npm install MongoDB, and then we also need Mongoose. And that's pretty much it for now. So you'll notice in the skeleton app, whole bunch of files installed. And actually, oh, by the way, so one little tip here. So the skeleton doesn't come with an automatic server reset. So every time you save or make a change, you have to close down the server and restart it to see the changes. So in order for us to make it automatic, you have to npm install nodemon, and once it's installed, you actually have to make a small change. So what is that change? I'll do it as soon as this installs. Okay, so we're good, comma. So come to your package.json file, and under scripts start, at the end of start, just put a comma, dev start, colon, nodemon dot bin dot www. Now, nodemon is the package. It is referring to the /bin www file, which is over here. This is your entry point into this application. So this file will run. It'll refer to the app.js and so on and so forth. So now, in order to run this, you write npm run dev start, and that'll start your server. Oops. I think I did something wrong here. What did I do wrong? Dev start. So it says missing script dev start. So what I think I did wrong was I didn't save anything. Let's try that again. There you go. Okay. As a developer, you'll come into these kind of issues a lot. And my experiences are that most of the time they're like tiny little errors. So, anyways, let's continue with the form. So this is our HTML. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, let's go into. Let's actually open up the server and see what we see the initial like startup. So this is what you get out of the box. Express, welcome to Express. And sorry, that is which file over here? That's the index file that's showing up. So welcome to the title. The title is being pulled in from one of the routes here. So it's probably being pulled in from the index.js route. So going to index, we'll actually cut most of this out. Body. Okay. So we're gonna actually make the form now. Actually, you know what? Let me just make sure that we're following protocol here. So we've created the Express skeleton application, which is this. Yes, now we're gonna make the form. Okay. So a basic form with the action of, let's say, register in this case. Now we'll put a method of post, and inside of that we'll put three inputs. So input text type is text, name rather is username, placeholder is enter your username, and autocomplete is equal to off. We'll make 3 of those. Enter your email. We'll put email here. This will be an email. This will be a password. 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 But for every form, just so you guys know, you need a submit button or else the form doesn't work. So we put a button here. We put a type of submit. So the type submit has to be there for the form to work, insofar as I know. I'll put that and see what it looks like. There you go. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this up so that you can submit to the database. So the next thing we got to do is we're going to connect to the database. So in order to do that, we got to go here and we have to let Mongoose equal to require Mongoose. So Mongoose is the package that we have to use. Behind the scenes, it automatically connects with MongoDB. So you don't actually have to require MongoDB. You just have to install MongoDB, and Mongoose will do the rest of it. So let's say after Express here, database setup. So let Mongoose equal to require. No, actually, I've already written that up there, right? So I don't need that again. What I do need is mongoose.connect URL. So since this particular database is on the server online, we're going to write the URL later afterwards. But unfortunately, I cannot show you the URL because it's my own, and I don't want any kind of shenanigans. So I'm going to just put that in a different sheet here, password.js, and I'm going to add that behind the scenes afterwards. So URL, and then what you need is user new URL parser. So this is just boilerplate. You have to write this. It's just required. It does. I'm not really sure what it does. The next line is mongoose.promise is equal to global promise, and let db equal to mongoose.connection db.on error console.error.bind console database error. So this just spits out an error if there's an error in connecting to the database. db.on. Honestly, I don't even think you need to write this one. So there's no more code. So that's your basic amount of code that you need to work with Express. So behind the scenes, I'm going to just quickly add my password. There we go. Yes. Okay, so I've added my password in the password file. I'll try not to open it by accident. Okay, so what is our next step? So we've connected to the database. Actually, let's restart the server. I know we don't have to, but I just want to make sure that everything is set before we go and restart. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to save everything. So restart. Okay. Oh, there's a problem. URL is not defined. URL is not defined. Oh yes, okay. So we created the URL in this file over here, but we have to kind of import it here. So let URL equal to require password. So you have to bring it into the app.js file in order for you to use URL down here on this part right here. So let's start that now. Okay, now it works. I kind of misspelled this, so it's use new URL parser. Okay, there you go. So this is the correct boilerplate code. So we've connected to the database. We've created our form. Now it's a matter of connecting now it's a matter of submitting something to the database so that we see it. I actually want to make sure about something. Okay, that's good. So now we have to make a route. If you go back to the form that we built, we have an action of register. So we have to create a route that calls that does a post or calls a function which does something to this particular route. So this is a kind of a long-winded way to do it, but you need a controller, and within the controller, let's just say user controller.js, and then you need another folder. You need another folder which is called, no, you need it outside on the root. So model, and you need user.js within that. So we're going to put some boilerplate stuff in the user. So Mongoose equals require Mongoose var schema is equal to Mongoose dot schema user schema new schema. So we have 3 inputs, right? Username, password, and an email. So username, what type is it? It's a type of string, and we'll just leave it at that for now. Like, there's many other validations that you can do. You can like make it required, or make it required, or the length of it, a whole bunch of stuff, which I recommend you do. Like this, what we're doing here is very basic, so this will not pass production. This is not like something that you would put live on an actual site, because malicious users, if you're just allowing strings to be entered, can put in a script that runs and like can post on a user's behalf, etc., etc. So always protect yourself. This is definitely not something that you would do on a serious project. So module.exports equals mongoose.model user schema. So these models, you can create a bunch of these models. So like, let's just say you were doing like a library app. You'd have like a book model, you have an author model. In this particular app, we just have a user, somebody who is coming into the website and registering their information in order to get access to items within the application. So we've made our user account, and we've exported our Mongoose model. This is just boilerplate stuff. You can find it on Mongoose's documentation. This is how they suggest you set it up. Now you go to the use controller. Now this is where all the basically the magic's gonna happen. Actually, no. This is this is where the magic is gonna happen. But in order for us to kind of get to this file, what we need to do is we need to create a route. So we go to our index file. The index file router.post, because why am I saying post is because if you go to the index, it says post. So we're posting under this URL. So go back to index, post, register. If I hear this call, I'm gonna ask it to go to controller dot the user controller sheet, and within that I'm going to ask it to call the register function. So that's it for this sheet. Actually, so let user controller equal require controller user controller. So we're gonna have to pull that file into here. So, and then this is going to require let user equals require model. Oh no. Model user. So this is pulling in So this sheet is kind of like the middleman, is pulling in this information because that's where we're going to store it. So now, what are we going to do? So this is going to, we're going to export this function that the index.js file is going to call. So exports dot register is equal to function request resolve, that's boilerplate stuff, let user equal new user, and request.body, which holds that form information. So now the user, the small user, has that information. So user.save, and since this is a promise, then item, and I'm going to use arrow notation here, response send item saved to database, and catch error console.log error. So if there's an if this was successfully added, let me know, and if there was an error, also let me know, but let me know in this console. Oh, hold on. We have a callback function that's an object. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Okay, I think we're good. So let's just recap. Let's just go back. So we set up our database here. Then we went into user and we set up the schema, which is required by Mongoose. Then we went into the index.js and we said, okay, if you're going to click on register, which is a post method, call this function. So call the register function in the user controller. And then we went to the user controller and we required in first the user from the user.js, the model, and then enter the form body information into the user, and then save that to the database. So let's try going into the database and saving this stuff. Okay, so Mr. ABC, abc at abc.com, and QWERTY. Let's see if this works. User is not a constructor. User is not a constructor. What did I do wrong here? Let's find out. Let's see what we did wrong. User is not a constructor. Well, this wouldn't be the issue. This wouldn't be the issue. This is not the issue. So we've kind of done something wrong here. Let user require model new user request. Okay. Let me check my notes. Maybe I did something wrong there. And user. So I'm going to restart the server and see what's going on. npm dev npm run dev start. Interesting. What did I do wrong here? Register. User controller register. Exports. User model. And in the user controller, I've added that there. So, user controller. Maybe I need to refresh it. Okay. No, user is not a constructor. Huh. What's going on? Okay, so guys, I did some digging around, and really it was a matter of just saving everything. Apparently Control KS didn't work, so I saved everything. Now let's go into the file and let's confirm that this is actually going to work. So let's just say abc at abc.com, and then the password can be anything. Register. It's told us item saved to database, and if you go to the database, this particular section is empty, but now you see it, abc at abc.com, QWERTY. So thank you for watching. I know this was a little bit of a long video, but I just wanted to kind of show you guys Express and how to set it up. You know, it's quick. The skeleton is a great way to use Express because it kind of gives you all the files ready to go, and you know there's a lot of work that you don't have to do. And Mongoose is a great way to deal with databases, especially MongoDB. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, I know it was a little bit slow, but I'm going to try to go into more depth in the next videos where I'm going to kind of show validations on these particular schemas, so that when a user does enter information, that they're not putting themselves in a they're not facing a security issue. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching.